I got a bit scared to post because, I mean, I'm not used to having so much attention on my videos. Hi, I'm back. It's been really crazy how this one video I've made about me kind of trying to ponder why my book hasn't been published has kind of taken off from the perspective of my channel that normally never gets any views. Maybe like 50, 60 views, which I really appreciate regardless, but basically it was on 2,000 views when I last checked, and it seems to resonate with people, and I'm grateful that we could have this conversation in the comments. And ironically, one of the comments was a bit more critical towards my art. Actually, really, by processing that comment and by the response I made to that comment, it kind of re-clarified for me maybe what I need to focus on at the moment. And the thing that would be to, of course, maybe have someone look over, and I think I pretty much decided I will go to this attend this critique meeting from the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. But the thing I wanted to do today, which again inspired by that slightly critical comment, sometimes these comments are also important. Yeah, because in some way I realized that yes, there are a lot of great stories out there, and maybe my highest chance to get seen is to find a literary agent. And of course, this could be also a completely fruitless endeavor. Maybe I will not find someone, but at least it's something I could do. And often I've seen the requirement is that you have at least 3 stories. And I currently have 2 that are basically finished to the dummy stage. That's the kind of stage you tend to pitch to publishers. Sorry, I'm not looking so much at the camera. It's really bright in here. I don't even know where to look at. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do, I think. I'm going to work on my 3rd story to make that possible to find a literary agency. Because, yeah, I think that might be just the wisest choice, unless I meet someone by chance in a critique group, or I meet an editor that likes my work. I don't know what the chances are for a small publishing house to pick up my book. It's not impossible, and I will probably keep looking, but I just don't have the time and mental capacity right now to search through tiny or like publishers that do take submissions. And there are 2 publishing houses that I seem to gravitate towards the most, and that's Walker Books and Simon & Schuster. I mean, there's other great publishing houses, of course, too, but I wonder if I maybe fit in there better. I don't know. I'm open to anything, any of the publishing houses that would take someone who likes to work with a lot of white space. I think that's one of the things I enjoy, and that's probably because of my graphic design background. That's the feedback I also got from a lot of art directors, that I work really well with white space. So, and that means I don't fill the entire page. For example, I work with the space surrounding my images, my characters. Am I explaining that well? I don't know. I'm just chatting without a script, as you can tell. But yeah, today I decided, like I said, I'm working on my book, my 3rd one. And I've made some progress. Again, this is also a book from idea that kind of started in 2017. So, and I'm gonna look at this book. It's called Writing with Pictures by Uri Shulevitz, if I pronounce him correctly. This is a quite old book, and I paid, I don't know, I think I paid £25 for this. I don't remember, but it is such a great book. I love it so much. It's basically how to write and illustrate children's books, but writing with pictures, that's the main point. Basically, he seems to also start with pictures first and then writes the story after. And I think I need to follow this approach more, because that is how I think as well. And it's just a great book. I really highly, highly recommend it if you want to, or if you have a very visual thinker as well. Page layout, character design, storytelling, it is amazing. I don't, for copyright reasons, I don't know how much I can really show of this book. But what I like very much about this is also showing you how stories have to work, that they make sense. Different aspects of storytelling, like simple words, word images, rhythm and repetition, sound and rhyme. from the familiar to the unknown. I'm just reading some of the titles. Yeah, it means like how to resolve a story and how to apply those formats. I don't know, it's just a great book. I love it. How to make your storyboard and your dummy. And I think that's where I'm going to, yeah, I think I have my story idea mostly. I'm not quite sure yet how to tell the story, but I have a lot of the images in my mind already. And I like this approach of starting with the images and then adding the words, because I'm more an illustrator than an author. But yeah, I don't know, I think it just makes sense to start with the images and not with the text. So unless of course I would illustrate for someone else that's already written, then that's different, and I've done that before. But it just makes a lot of sense. Sorry, I've been cutting off my head while I was looking at the book. Yay, I don't know. I highly recommend you look at this. If you're ever interested in, if you're an illustrator thinking to write, please look at this book. And that's what I'm going to do now. So yeah, lots of talking, but yeah, that was a bit of an update of what I'm going to do. I don't even know what I've even posted. I filmed so much the last few days, and then I got a bit scared to post because, I mean, I'm not used to having so much attention on my videos. And it might completely not happen afterwards. Maybe this was a unique thing that happened. But for all the people who are new here, I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you for joining me and walking this walk with me. And yeah, it's nice to hear you in the comments and hear your paths. And it's just nice to know there's other people out there. And it's just nice to enjoy this company and thinking that you are here with me in some way, even if you're watching this after I've been, filming this and posting this. So yeah, wish me luck for my critique group. I don't know why I'm saying this, because effectively it's just gonna be what it's gonna be, and I will make the most out of the feedback I'm getting. And then, yeah, I will submit it until, I think, sometime in June is the critique group, and I have, I think, about 5 days until I have to submit. So I'll see how much I will still really change. But yeah, exciting. I mean, I just think this one video that, kind of exploded for my channel. That thought process really worked. It helped me so much. It helped me to clarify. And even, like I said, sometimes even the comments that are not feeling constructive, it kind of stirred something in me. I guess because I was a bit, it was not necessarily super friendly, but it still helped me to clarify my thoughts. So sometimes you just have to see it as an opportunity. Maybe God is showing me a way somehow on how to get that book out. And maybe, yeah, although I've said that before, sometimes you forget what your plan was for your book. Sometimes you forget your path, and sometimes you don't have that clarity. And I think this might be the way forward, because I just don't think I can pitch my book to so many publishers. I just don't have that energy and capacity at the moment, especially because I have 2 young children and it's just not my main job. But I can work on books and I can refine books, I think, on the side. But I think that additional step of also having to pitch it, I'm not sure if I can do that as well. But yeah, anyways, we'll see. I'm going to read this book now. Going to look at how to tell stories, how to have a consistent story, how to make a good story, basically. And this is just amazing. Like, I love this book so much. Like how he shows how to show progression. Yeah, clear progression. I don't know. Check out this book, guys. It's amazing. I've read a little bit, a few pages, and I think the main thing I'm getting, and I remember I did read that when I was writing my final project, so my final big picture book. I did read up. This was my literature kind of background for my project. I just forgot these things. Like, it's been so many years since I graduated that I just forgot. But basically, he is saying there's 2 different ways. There's a storybook and there's a picture book. Like, the story basically can exist without words and without pictures. A storybook can exist without pictures, and the pictures support the words. But in a picture book, the pictures tell the story and the words just support it. So that's the main difference. And he kind of mentions Beatrix Potter's Tales of Peter Rabbit as actually a storybook, because a lot of the text is actually explaining what's happening, and the picture is kind of just showing the same thing and supports the text. So this would be a storybook, the same as a novel would be maybe a story. It doesn't need images. It explains everything what's happening. But one of the examples he mentions as a true storybook is Randolph Caldecott's Hey Diddle Diddle, where in the picture I don't actually know this book, but I see a cat using a violin, a fiddle, and there's a lady in the background in front of a set table with lots of food and children dancing around that table with the cat and the fiddle. And so the words are basically, he's kind of describing it as just kind of like a background, like a soundtrack to the book. And the words themselves don't mean anything if you don't see the pictures. And I think that's an interesting thing. And then he gives a few other examples that, for example, Where the Wild Things Are, and one of his own books, one that starts with One Monday Morning. And you don't know, you would imagine, he says, like a beautiful day, you could imagine all kinds of things, but the page itself is showing kind of like a slightly rundown city neighborhood, and on a rainy day. And he's saying that the picture does all the work, it reads itself. And also I like what he mentioned about how a child experiences a picture book, especially when he can't read yet. It's a very he mentioned it as a dramatic experience, immediate, vivid, and moving. I don't know, just because they hear the words and they also see what's happening. And I just love that. I love it. I don't remember this, but I love that. I wonder if some people might argue against this. I don't know. I'm curious if this is because some picture books might be written like a storybook actually, and might not be true picture books in that sense. But I find that a very interesting distinction. And then it goes next to picture sequence, which is chapter 2. Anyway, I think I will stop here because, it's almost dinner time. And the nice thing about being at the in-laws, I'm having a meal cooked for me. And also today is a special holy day in our faith, so we'll celebrate together as a family. So I think that's really cool. I love it. I like the ideas he presents. I like how he presents them. And so the first one is if it's a there's part 1, chapter 1, picture book or storybook, like kind of how do you distinguish them? And yeah, that's really cool. So what do you think about this? I don't know. I think it's interesting. I like this. And maybe, I've been doing all those 2 books, or technically speaking the third book that is not completed yet. I have most of the images in my mind, but it's not a complete story. They all kind of happened a bit like that the words are kind of supporting. I feel like maybe I'm placing too much value now on the words. And although I did get the feedback from an editor that also wrote in the comments that they place the importance mostly on the story, and this, the way the pictures are made is kind of secondary. I agreed in this case, but I still think that for a picture book, the pictures, what the pictures tell, which is aka the story, is still important. So it's just a question: how am I telling the story, and what am I actually saying? That was the main point, I think, of this comment. What is the main point I'm trying to make? And I think that's something maybe especially with my last book, I'm not 100% clear yet. I know that it's about the main character is the mouse, and the mouse is hoarding something. It's either possessions, or it's worries, or it's fear, something that is becoming unhealthy to the point where he's trying to overprotect himself, he's trying to hide these things, to the point where he realizes he just can't hold on to these things anymore. And and then he's trying to resolve that somehow, and I'm not quite sure yet if I wanted to be possessions and then him drowning in his possessions and then him deciding to give them away as a gift, and it becomes precious to someone else and it's not a burden for him anymore. The book is called Archimedes Learns to Fly, by the way. It's a mouse with wings, but he can't fly because he's weighed down by something, and I'm not quite sure yet if it's possessions or if it's his fears, if how metaphorical I should be getting there. On the pictures currently it's doll houses, but like kind of possessions in this case, but I'm not sure if I want to use that anymore. I'm not entirely sure, or if it should be his fears and worries that he's kind of collecting and overprotecting and not sharing with anyone, and therefore they become overbearing and make him reclusive. I feel like both concepts would be relevant in our current times with a lot of consumption, a lot of buying. I mean, I'm a big fan of minimalism channels, also because I feel like I have moved many times, and especially when I move country, you kind of realize how much stuff you have. And I don't even believe myself as having a lot of things. And I don't call myself a minimalist, so to speak, but I'm trying to achieve that kind of simplicity and not having excess that I don't need. Or if it's at least to the point where it's not burdening me. I think that's the main point. And as a mother, especially with all the toys coming in, I think I have to reevaluate how much I'm keeping very often. Especially when I'm spending all day picking things up, then I realize something has to go, because my time is too precious to pick up things that my children just throw around and not play with. Anyway, what was I trying to say? Yeah, kind of figuring out. As you see, the thing is here, I am not quite sure what I want to use as the main, like what's the main point? The main point is you're burdened down by something, you want to let it go. And by sharing it or giving it to other people, it can become something good for them, and it makes you feel lighter to the point where you then can fly. That's the kind of main gist. But I don't know quite how to tell that yet. So, and I don't know which medium I should use, if I should use it as little worries or sorrows. But then how do you share that with other people? And how can it be precious to them? It's because of the connection. Anyways, that's the kind of... I think insert a few pictures of that idea. I love the pictures. They've always gotten amazing feedback. Like, people seem to really... Like, artworkers have responded really well. But people have even asked for the manuscript, but I never had one. I never had the actual story finished. So that was one of the reasons, I think, why a lot of opportunities have kind of slipped away, because people love the images, but somehow the words have escaped me. I've not managed to make that actually happen into something that I could package and actually give to someone. And I guess they then also would have to pitch it. So I think I messed up in that regard. I've just not been able to, I don't know, messed up is hard. I've just not been at the stage. And maybe I should have focused on that all along. But sometimes I think some stories need time. And maybe that's the time for the stories now. So that's why I'm trying to learn again. How can I bring this idea into a picture book? How can I transform it into images? And I hope it will be meaningful for people who maybe struggle with, bottling things up within them and then starting to, draw back from people and relationships and start to become heavy and, sad. Or people who are drowning in their own stuff, fearing that they will lose things when it's not the things that are making us happy, but the relationships we have with people. And also, of course, things are precious, but they shouldn't be the main focus of our life, I think. Anyway, point is, there's progress, and I feel like that was really valuable. Again, writing with pictures. What's the publisher called? Watson Guptill Publications? Interesting. I found that secondhand, and I think you will only be able to find it secondhand anymore. But again, I think I would just say this is amazing. I keep saying the same thing, but I feel like it's hard because I don't want to show you anything, because like technically speaking you need permission to show things. I mean, technically speaking it's also an educational channel. I'm not trying to sell that information that I have in here, and I don't know, but still I just want to be careful, and I hope I could convey a little bit of the content, what he's trying to say, without like directly quoting or anything. And yeah, anyways, I have only good intentions. I just want to have this book out in many people's hands, because I think his ideas are great, the way he explains things. I want to be personally tutored by Uri. Anyway, okay, I hope you have a nice day. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, like it, send me a cute emoji. If you can't be bothered to write a comment, because it helps the algorithm and it helps me that I know that you've watched it. And yeah, if you feel like you want to give me feedback, yeah, constructive feedback is okay, of course. I mean, it's a free world, we are able to express ourselves, but just keep in mind that, I mean, I'm just a normal human being, and your words have an effect on other people, and you can say the same thing in kind words too. And but yeah, anyway, regardless, I'll make the most of it. I'm trying to keep moving forward, and I just want to thank you all for your kind support. See you next time. Bye.